Yes, yes. Good evening, good afternoon, good night. Welcome along to Poets Day Pint. And Luke John, welcome along. Thanks for joining us. Popping into the Disco Arms for a beer.
I thought you were going to say I was going to announce myself as the new, younger, much expensive model of Rascal,
And
with
the
a
better looking.
lot more hair.
I'll leave you to do that. You're more than welcome. I won't say them words, obviously, but how are you doing, sir? And first of all, happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
25
not
again.
so bad. I've been to work. I've come back. I've had beers delivered. So I'm happy as a Cheshire cat on a autumnal summer's day.
Good. Well, it was looking really nice and bright earlier, so I thought we'd have the light and go on at 4 o'clock. Go a bit early, and it's gone a bit dark now, but let's get into the beers. Trilby Phil's in. Loves an afternoon stream. Good afternoon, sir. Good to see you.
Good afternoon, Phil.
And Crammy's in as well. Good afternoon to you. Happy damn Friday, Rasco Jr. That is indeed brilliant. That's a better way of describing it. What's first up in your glass for a Friday afternoon there, Luke?
So I'm going for a Vocation collab with Funky Fluid, and it is their Tropical Sorbet Ripple, which is a 6% sour IPA. It's not often I come across sour IPAs, so for me, I thought, why not give it a whirl and see what we have. So,
another two things that don't really go together for me, sour and IPA. I mean, I'm getting into my sours, especially the fruit ones like mango and whatever, but yeah, sour IPAs I'm not so sure about. I want to keep them separate, but I can see the point of them. It's just not necessarily for me. Grammy says happy birthday to you. Cheers, Grammy. I've gone for something up your neck of the woods. I'm on the McColl's. Nice simple fest lager that I picked up just after Christmas on a very good January discount.
So it's not looking too bad in the glass.
It's definitely a good mango colour, isn't
it? It is indeed. I don't know what a sorbet ripple is all about, but I take it it's a tropical, mangoey, pineapple. I mean, I'm getting all this aroma, which is amazing. So, yeah, kind of a lemon gelato. Oh, because I'm a northerner, a lemon top ice cream from Ricker Beach. Which, if anyone's ever been to the seaside of the northeast, they know what a lemon top is.
I have, but I don't.
Well, I reckon it's time for a little slurp.
Indeed. Cheers. Happy damn Friday. Happy Poets Day. Oh, that's good. That is a jolly solid fest beer. Jolly solid lager. Some nice maltiness on it. I tell you what that reminds me of, Luke. That reminds me of a drink I had this very afternoon that looked like a milkshake IPA, except it was a new monster variant I found in the supermarket. It was like a mango ice cream, and it was basically what all these like lactose milkshake IPAs want to be but aren't. Except it wasn't alcoholic, but we could have soon sorted it out with a little bit of spirit. But I really enjoyed it. It was just like drinking a Solero, a mango Solero. Beautiful. That's not beer. We're all about the beer here, so I do like focusing on a beer. That looks like a good one. Trilby Phil has got a Vocation Crush Hour Pale. Cheers, Phil. Good one.
Thanks, Phil. I wasn't expecting it to be so tart.
Right.
Medium light carbonation, but it's got a kind of acidic tartness to the beer, which is it's kind of threw me just a little bit. So I'm
I
like,
guess that's the thing. You never know with sours, just how sour or tart they're going to be. That's kind of, I suppose, part of the fun of it. I guess.
yeah. But with this being an IPA, I'm kind of getting that it wants to be both things. It wants to be a sour and it wants to be an IPA.
Have you got that kind of hop heavy IPA-ness, or is that muted by the fruit?
No, that I think that's where the acidic and tartness is coming from. So you're getting a little bit of acidity from the hops, but the tartness from the sorbet.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That is one very confused beer and one very confused drinker as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I'll give it a swell. I've had worse beers, I suppose.
It sounds like the sort of thing I'd sort of get halfway through and end up going, stuff this, and chucking it in a glass with some kind of spirit, probably amaretto, and topping up with lemonade for a craft beer cocktail just to kind of get through it and cut through that sourness and the bitterness a little bit.
Yeah, it would probably work in a beer cocktail, to be honest.
I have to do some more videos
Probably
on that
better
because
than
I'm not afraid of doing that.
on its own. At this stage, I mean, it's only been out the fridge 10 minutes, so maybe if it warms up slightly, might get a bit of a different perspective on it.
Yeah, see how it goes. But IPA-ness, what's the NUS bit? Sounds like a good slur for beer reviews.
Yeah.
I do like mango in fruited beers, but again, you never quite know just how much mango you're going to get. The more, the better from me. I know it's a bit of an opinion divider in the first place, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I think with mango, it brings a more luxurious mouthfeel to it.
Yeah, like pulpiness or something like a pulpy fruit.
This is kind of it's light, but you can't get away from that tardiness.
Mm.
And it didn't just refill itself. I topped it up for an Instagram photo. As one does.
Cheers, CJ. Good CFO's popping in. You sexy beardos.
Cheers, CJ.
Some mispronounced weirdos.
But I've never had anything from Funky Fluid.
Yeah, it's another one I see about, and just I've never quite got enough to like get an order out, or they just join the back of the queue for like getting any. It's one I'll pick up now and again from like random. So, but they do their big kind of beers like that, don't they? So,
I mean, obviously, I know all about Vocation, but they've been a Hebden Bridge, Yorkshire company. I kind of knew Vocation before they became big and popular. And
supermarket fodder.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that it sounds like a slur. It's not, because it has its place in its good stuff. I don't mean to do that, but it's just easy, an easy jump to make.
I'm the same. I mean, I have plenty of discussions about beers in supermarkets, and a lot of the time I can't bring myself to buy beers that have been in supermarkets. I mean, I'm all about the bottle shop, the small independent.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's sometimes so I don't buy a lot of Vocation from bottle shops, because the likelihood is it'll be 2 or 3 quid cheaper a few months down the line in the supermarket.
I've never quite understood that. I'd have to have that conversation. Why? I mean, I don't mind bottle shop stocking Vocation, but why stock the same ones that are in the supermarket, probably in the same town, and you're never going to hit the price point? It's bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, I had when I had my bottle shop, so Theakston's and Black Sheep,
Yeah.
I was going to stock them, and they said, "Look, to be honest, just go to Aldi. You will not get it any cheaper than Aldi,
Yeah.
and it would cost us more to send it out to you than what you can pick up in Aldi." So
That kind of just annoys customers because even if you get somebody in and that's how you get them in and they start drinking that, but then as soon as they go to the supermarket and see it cheaper down there, they get annoyed by you, the bottle shop. It's like, well, why are you mugging me off? And it's like, well, I just don't see why they stock them like that, like you say. Unless there is a demand, I don't know. Unless you can hit the price point somehow, I don't know. There must be a way of doing it, but
yeah, I mean, when Deacon's brought out the barista stout,
yeah,
on a trade list, you could only buy it in a case of 24, and with delivery, it was quite expensive. It was working out about £2.74 a can, obviously with the VAT. And yeah, as soon as it hit the supermarkets, it was on for way less than that.
yeah,
And they're just like, well, it is expensive. And I just thought, well, I've got a case here of barista stout that now I can get cheap in the supermarket. So I kind of took it off the shelf and just drank it myself.
4 cans in cooking a keema.
Is it a lamb keema? CJ?
Nice, nice. Yeah, I mean, obviously you've got much more insight onto that. Obviously, having done the online bottle shop thing last year, I see. The other thing that always amuses me is like, you go on like I've only ever seen Trembling Madness, but they do the supermarket beers sometimes, I think, but at the same price as the supermarket beers, and they have this odd habit of doing beers cheaper than you can get them off directly from the brewery that they're selling for. And I know how it works. Obviously, economies of scale, blah blah blah. But why not just put that extra 30p on? Hey, you make more. I mean, he's not doing it to make money so much. I don't think because he's got so much going out the door. But it's just odd to like undercut the person you're buying the beers off of. It don't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, so when I kind of had my loss leaders. So
Yeah,
if you look at, I know it's not drink related, but look at Greg's. Greg sells sausage rolls really cheap. Why? It's a loss leader. It gets you there if you're buying other things. So what happens is you price it lower than it should be because you can guarantee people are going to buy possibly more because they think, oh, well, I'm getting a good deal here, so I'll keep browsing and keep adding to the basket. They end up spending more. So I used to do it a lot before I took the stance of low cheap local brew beers.
Yeah.
I mean, my bottle shop was very cheap in comparison to anyone else around, which I'm slightly good because I support my local bottle shop now, and I'm thinking I know exactly how much you pay for them cans at trade price. It's a little bit gut-wrenching.
Yeah.
Having to pay £2 or £3 more for the can, but I don't mind if it supports them and supports the brewery. Why not? Two birds, one stone.
Exactly. And if the product is good, but I think that's why I could never be. I'm not really a businessman or entrepreneur because I'd be like, I don't know. I'd want to be selling everything, but you can't sell everything off at such a good price. It'd be like say you got your lost leaders, but the rest of it you never make any money if I did it. And I'd be too busy drinking the stock. I'd only get in stuff that I want to drink, which wouldn't necessarily sell.
Well, with me, and it's a shame I didn't actually start my YouTube channel a lot sooner, especially the beer one, which is the one that I'm on now. Because every beer that came in, I tried, so I'd be able to tell the customer exactly what that beer is like. And part of that is I always found it. Sometimes when I've been to bottle shops or beer shops or whatever people want to call them these days, I dislike when you used to get people working there who just wanted a sale.
Mm.
So you get somebody going in saying, "Oh well, really, I only drink Peroni, Stella, Foster's, kind of the macro based," and then they're trying to sell them a Baltic Porter and saying, "Yeah, you'll like it," because it's like actually the one.
See,
And it's kind of, it really started to wind me up. So I used to, when people came in, I used to try and match them to kind of what they were already drinking as an introduction.
Yeah.
So I suppose, as a lager drinker, the next step would be IPA, but you don't want to go in with a full-on Citra bomb.
Exactly, yeah. You got to have that balance just to take that one little step above, isn't it? But that's why I can't really do sales and stuff like that. Is because I always say I don't really like customers or the general public.
I mean, imagine drinking Carl and then somebody sells you, RBC bomb, where it's just absolutely kicking you in the teeth and jumping down your throat. It's kind of one of those things, and I gained a lot from that in respect of learning about beer.
I've got a couple of friends who don't even really drink beer, and I'm forever trying to find them a beer. Like it's a running joke. It's like one day I'll find a beer you actually like, and I think I've got as far as a lemon sour because it's basically just like drinking cloudy lemonade and sherbet lemons. But that's about as far as I've got.
I mean it's quite nice. I mean I've got friends who will go for a night out and they'll just be, "Let me do a review," and they're reviewing a Carlin and they're like, "It smells like beer, tastes like beer." That's it. No fingerhead. And it's like, well, that's kind of exactly what beer reviewers do. They just tell you what they taste, what they smell, and if they enjoy it or not. So, but I don't want them to become beer reviewers because they're quite boring people actually in real life.
Even back in the day, I was probably like, I would have probably been one of them like, yeah, it's just beer and it's just, it tastes like that. But then I was drinking real ales and stuff like that. But I think a lot more these days, like in the last 5 years, more about because of starting, Rasco starting the channel and doing the beer reviews, you get a lot more about the nuances and the different flavors and tastes and what you get. And like beforehand, I would have got, yeah, it's just that one tastes of stout taste of chocolate and coffee or whatever. But then you get all these little individual, especially with much more adjunct heavy beers these days, it kind of becomes more apparent the more you look into it. But then I don't begrudge people who don't and just want to drink whatever they want to drink. That's fair enough. But it's sort of, there is a lot more to it. It's like, but then it's the same as like wine drinkers and wine enthusiasts. And I worked for a wine shop for a month before Christmas once, and the girl there was telling me all about, notes of honey and, honeysuckle and lemon blossom and all this, like, hedgehog farts or whatever. And I thought, I looked at her like she was mad. But now I probably see more now having done that with beer than like I did then with wine,
Yeah. I mean, I can do exactly the same with, like, obviously I've got like a load of gins, whiskies, bourbons, and I kind of do the same with that. Pull it apart, and sometimes I've got a few distilleries there that I'm good friends with the owners and the distillers, and I'll go to them. They'll bring a new one out, and they're like, try and find out what's in that. I mean, apart from tears and depression, which is normally
I imagine
the first two
I
things
don't drink. I don't drink gin. I imagine that must be even harder to find different notes in gin. My mate who works for a whiskey company, he's really good with all those descriptions, and I can slightly see it a bit more in whiskey than say gin. But
cheers, CJ.
Joey's in, yeah. Birthday for hedgehog hearts and hedgehog farts and honey blossom. Oh, it's a winning combo. I actually stole that from your man, the Irishman, who was in Black Books. He's a stand-up comic. He was talking about like Hedgehog and Vertigo flavour crisps in like trendy bars and stuff.
I reckon I've got to name my next beer Hedgehog Farts and Honey Blossom.
Yeah, that's one for Joey.
Well, I've got that them few cans to send back out, so I've got them packaged now.
Oh,
So,
okay.
as soon
All
as
right. Yeah.
thank you, DPD, for your not worthy of anything assistance.
Can't believe they told you that it wasn't packaged properly. So I can't believe that it was kicked around a warehouse improperly.
But for somebody that used to send beer all across the country,
Yeah,
and it 9.5 times out of 10, getting there all intact.
yeah, exactly. I mean, you could see it. I had it before Christmas. Funnily enough, with another disco beer, and it wasn't DPD. It was not American Express. I wanted to say, what's the American one? I'm forgetting a lot of words recently. UPS. That was it. And I could tell the package was damaged because it didn't move for 3 days in the warehouse. It's like, I know you've been kicking this around the warehouse in Essex for 3 days because you haven't told anyone. And then they still didn't tell anyone. And then, like, I contacted the brewery, didn't hear anything from them. And all of a sudden, like a week and a half later, a package turns up unannounced. It's lucky I was in, like, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, enough grumbles. Brambles in. Good evening, afternoon, sir. Happy P.O.E.T.S Day. They're all in today. Adam's in. Mersey Beers, good evening. Excited for ale very soon. Oh, yeah, you're doing an extended. He's doing an extended dry January.
I believe Adam's going to have at least 2 beers and be on his back this evening.
He's an experienced drinking man, to be fair. Rob says, what's your shop called? I don't remember it.
My shop was called the Drunken Duckland Drinks Emporium.
Mm.
And it wasn't a bad little shop.
It was really good because I did look at it and I was, as always, yay close to pulling the trigger on an order because I was going to get some free brothers and stuff like that. Because I think starting with McColl's, the Northeast was an area that I got quite a lot of beers from at the beginning of lockdown when I started ordering online. And so obviously but then it's almost a case of I get an order together and I look at it and I'm like, I can't spend 75 quid, you know what I mean? And that's not because the prices are too high, it's just because I put too much on the damn order and I'm like, oh, which ones do I not get? And in the end, I undernard so much and it never happened in the end. And I still haven't got enough. I still haven't got round to Three Brothers because I keep looking at their website. And obviously I thought Backroom Disco was going to be on there, but obviously now I realise you don't differently like that. And I still haven't got an order out of Three Brothers because there's too much stuff there. It's like I can't complain about too much choice, but
well, I've just got their so it's limited and very expensive.
Yeah,
and it's a 750ml bottle of kind of their whiskey barrel-aged milk stout.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of those around at the moment as well. They're making them choices.
9%.
Nice.
Bottle number 113 of 250. So, and it's got the Grolsch style lid.
Everybody loves a pop top. That's unusual for a 750, isn't it?
Yeah, and with a proper cap as well, just to keep it. So
indeed. That's one of the ones I wanted, the marshmallow porter, campfire marshmallow porter from Three Brothers. Sounds a good one.
There's a s'mores porter that they do, which is a marshmallow and chocolate porter, and that is a superb beer.
Do you get to McColl's much? I mean, they're just sort of a little bit further up from you, aren't they? And do you see? Obviously, I imagine you see. Do you have many? What do you think of McColl's?
Yeah, I like McColl's. McColl's are kind of a little breadbasket. You know, if you're going to get McColl's, you're going to buy a dozen. of all different types of theirs, because actually the quality is normally pretty good.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree. I mean, only got this one in because they did some really good discounts and like sort of end of range stuff a little bit, but I did put some regular beers on there as well because they were some good price and all. But I do like their kind of, again, I don't tend to get their kind of core range that much because I like the specials and there's always so many. The first one I got, I think in 2020, was their beetroot beer de garde, which they haven't done this year, but it's like a beetroot in a beer. I'm all about something stupid like that. But and I got their latest one, the men's pie club one, but they had the salt and pepper bitter, but they've brought out an oatmeal stout on that range as well now, which I like the look of.
Yeah, and obviously that one's all about mental health. So it's 10 pence from every can goes to mental health.
Yeah. I was going to do a video on it, but
see, I'm a bit of a mug like that because I see someone like, certain amount of this, what you pay will go to a charity, and I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to get it anyway, just even if it's not particularly what I want.
Yeah.
For charity, and then I think it's only 10 pence.
Yeah.
So I'll get 10. Give
my question to you is, and it's a little bit of a dull question, but the new McColl's logo.
Yes.
I mean, it's not terrible. I just don't like it compared to the old one.
Yeah, their rebrand was a bit strange.
I mean, if I'd seen it first, it wouldn't be a problem. But I think, I don't know. Let's well, let me get it lined up. I mean, all right, the old one on the right, as you see it, all right, it says McColl's a bit more clearly, and it's got a nice little logo. That one's more about like the countryside, isn't it? So the new one on the green can. I mean, if I'd seen that one first, it wouldn't have been a problem. It's like, well, that's just McColl's, but because that one, I just preferred that one. It's not a problem because I still buy the beers, and the beers are good enough. But I just prefer the old logo. I don't think it matters a lot, to be honest.
Yeah, is it? So is it Jack? So the way McCall started is, marketing designers started a brewery.
Yeah.
And I think that's now their third logo in about 6 years.
See, designers are going to do that. They're going to always itch to redesign, aren't they?
Yeah. So they keep swapping and changing. When they first started, I kind of got that they were more about the can art than the beer. But as they've kind of grown into it, they've become more about the beer and less about the art as such. I mean, some of the can art is still pretty good.
Yeah, well, I mean, this range is like, it's good because it's bright, but it's not over designed. There's not too much on it. It's quite fairly simple. I like it when you've got the logo, the beer name, and the thing on all the info on the front. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like it's fairly good.
And obviously, it's good for beer reviewers because standard can doesn't justice.
Yeah. Simmer's in. Another happy birthday for you, sir. Bramwell's talking to us about beetroot. Beetroot is great in beer as the earthy flavour complements British hops and malt very well. Not sure if it would work as well with US or New Zealand hops. Yeah, I guess that's... Yeah, you don't want it too hoppy to go with the beetroot because beetroot's fairly sweet, so it kind of, does complement it pretty well. I've had one or two beetroot beers. My local did a beetroot porter, so I will go for beetroot because it's, something a bit different. You don't see it too often. Well, that one's got down really nicely. It's a really solid festive lager. So from the back end of last year, but still going strong. Very good. I'm going to... Talking about that one as we did, the one I was talking about that got damaged is from 40 Foot, Raw Disco. So I'm going to just pop a little another lager in. I was surprised at this. This is actually really good. A really good lager.
I may hit another sour before I move on to something else, just because I've got a load of sours to get through.
Well, I always usually start on sours just to move up through the range, or sometimes I'll cut one in like at some
Yeah,
point up
I had a I had a
I'm doing
good discussion on Facebook the other night about the Vault City, the Iron Brew, and I
Oh
said
yeah.
last year I rated it a 1.7, but it's actually gone up to a 3.8 this year.
Uh-huh.
And last year it was incredibly flat. Think of a Iron Brew bottle that's been slightly open, sat in the sun.
Yeah.
It kind of had that last year. It was flat and just sweet for no reason.
I
But
never
this
got round
time they've nailed it this year. So
I've never got round to the Vault City one, but in 2020 there's a brewery down in London called Exhale. One of them Scottish, so he did a Iron Brew sour. I haven't seen too much from Exhale. I know they're still about, but I'd quite like to do a side by side with the Vault City one. I've not had the Vault City one either.
mm-hmm. and it's pretty good. I mean, the can art is pretty good as well. It's
Vault City are generally really pretty good.
Of course, I used to like them before they ramped the prices up.
I tell you what, I had a really good one last week. I know it was again going back to supermarket beers. It was one from Tesco, the strawberry raspberry ripple one. I really liked it.
Mm.
Talking about supermarkets briefly for the last time, I was happened to be in Sainsbury's today, and I picked up a can of Polly's. I'd missed that at Polly's in Sainsbury's now as well. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not massively fussed on Polly's. I've had an order out of them because they did a beer with disco in the name. But yeah, weird seeing them in Sainsbury's.
Yeah, I had a Polly's. It was the West Coast. I think all it had was like Galaxy and I think maybe Amarillo or something. And it was pretty good. But I get a few Polly's in the Beer 52 boxes.
Oh really? Wow.
Um,
in 330s or 440s?
440s, which is pretty good. I've just got another one in because I've just opened not the box that arrived today, but the last one, which I'm out of sync if I'm going to ever review them because it's like they've probably moved on and gone somewhere else.
Yeah.
But I think it's a black. Is it a stout? I think. Lost Dark Magic Stout at 6%.
Oh yeah, that's interesting.
So, but I do like it when I get 440ml cans in. So if anyone from Beer 52 are watching, please send me more. I'm not a super fan of 330, even though they serve a purpose.
Yeah. Well, I can't say too much because I'm drinking 330s, but it's only because I had to get a whole 12 pack in. But I normally just put them together and just you've gotten over a pint, haven't you? This I didn't know. Adam says Polly's have been in supermarkets before at M&S. I haven't really been to M&S that much. I did go just before Christmas and they had some good stuff in, but I have got an M&S fairly local, but I just don't go there really. Polly's have supermarket specific beers. They do sell direct and wholesale. Yeah, gotcha. I understand because of price points and stuff like that. It's the right way to do it if you're gonna. Yeah, it's like John at Lord says he does that for like Weatherspoons, but he's brewing the beers specifically for them at that price point, and that's a completely different kettle of fish. But so yeah, if Polly's are in on it, fair play. I mean, it's probably not going to be the sort of beer that I'm that bothered about. The one I've got, I think, is just an IPA. And IPAs and pale ales, I'm like, it's like there's so many and they're all much the same yet all completely different. It's like Adam says here about 4 brown ales and multiple pales and IPAs with Idaho 7. I was having a brief chat with him about this, but I've got a beer with Idaho in it, not Idaho 7, Idaho Gem, and I don't think I like Idaho 7 because it's that kind of, it's got that flavour in that I'm not that bothered about, and I struggle to separate individual hops. I do like to know what hops are what, but I struggle to remember all the different ones and all the different flavour profiles. It's just my brain is like too sozzled with just drinking beer, really.
Mm.
Also, I don't have to because I just ask Adam because his encyclopedic knowledge of hops. I'm very obviously rate. I'll just ask him if I need to know anything about hops or anybody else for that matter.
So I've gone for I've doubled up on vocation.
Plan.
Obviously, it has to be the Curse of Death, which is a collab with Thick Sauce. And this is a 7.5% Disco Big.
Wrong one.
But yeah, it's quite a good can out. Disco's just plain. But it's a there we go.
This guy hasn't learned how to use StreamYard yet. I don't do enough stuff live, to be fair.
It's
Oh,
a
the Curse of
double
Death, right? Yeah, the cherry one, cherry and chili one. Yeah.
cherry, chili, and chocolate. Cherry. I mean, if you don't like cherry, it's probably not worth getting it, is it?
I do like cherry, but I'm not so keen on chili. I've got a couple of chili beers in, but I've just not got around to trying them yet. But yeah, cherry and chili, I can see.
I've had quite a few with beers with chili in. It started with, funny enough,
Jake's saying good afternoon, Jake. Good to see you. Thanks for popping in. Yeah, I thought I ordered that one, and I ended up missing out on it. I know why. I was going to get it again direct from a Coles, but I ended up getting something else that was out around that time from Trembling Madness. And then I'm like, I spent too much money. I can't get that one. I thought I had that one in, but I never got around. But that did look all right with the chocolate. Chili and chocolate works for me.
Yeah, Mexican hot chocolate stout, 11.3%. That's kind of kick-started my little love affair with chili in different beers.
Yeah.
And then I've gone from that to Brew York's Naga chili bourbon barreled part of the State of Mind. And the Naga chili in that was hot. But you kind of forget, so you want something cold, so you drink more of the beer, and you forget that it's actually got the chili in it, making it hot. But that was pretty good. I've actually got it's been delivered this afternoon because I just like a load of beer deliveries on my birthday. Why not?
Yeah.
Kidding the candy shop. The Empress Tom Coco.
Yeah.
The four beers from Brew York. I've done the thumbnail to review them. Who knows? I mean, I've also done the thumbnail for these sours. Didn't get around to it today, so.
That sounds like incredibly advanced planning. I never even get around to planning stuff that far. Even for this one, I was still putting stuff together at like 10 to, hastily assembled. But I tell you, we got a lot of people in. Thanks everybody for wandering in and staying. Let us know in the comments there what you guys are drinking. I'm pleased that anybody's just as I said that all the figures went down, but thanks anyway, everybody. Stay on.
Howdy, Mr. Jacob Beer.
Yes.
It's my birthday, so I'm not going to call you that. What I normally call you. Jake's a sound lad. If you see him on Craig's
Absolutely, yeah.
live shows.
It's another season I've missed out on a trip to Ipswich, but I hope to catch up with Jake at some point up that way in another football season, probably now. It's like that way quite a lot, but yeah. So the plan, like the general plan, I never really had a plan for this live. It was just like I've got too much beer in. I need to get some reviews done. And do you know what? I was gonna crack the beers open, do a bit of do some photos on the side to do a bit of content, and I haven't bothered. I've just been chatting to you, but it's been much more fun than worrying about doing content. Do you know what I mean? So I haven't taken any photographs. Forget it. Doesn't matter. I've lost the light now anyway, so my camera's not good enough to take photos in the dark in like low light. So I didn't carry on drinking. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's better, I think. Drinking with people rather than sitting there watching people. I'm terrible drinking on my own. I just don't drink quick enough on my own. But if I'm chatting away and like it's all going well, I prefer even online. Like I kind of adjusted to this online drinking lark much better than because I don't really drink at home that much. But
yeah, well, fully enough, all the way through lockdown, I did not drink in the house.
Okay.
We come out of lockdown and I started drinking in the house. I don't know what mad, bizarre thing had happened, but I was just like, what on earth? I've just gone almost 2 years without a beer, and now I'm getting it down the gannett as quick as I possibly can. Who knows? But I mean, I've had so many fantastic beers that I've just had on a live stream. And I mean, I don't tend to drink a lot of beer if I'm just watching. I might have a wee dram or, just a little tipple on a night. That's about it. But I don't tend to drink a lot of beers when I'm not on YouTube. So
yeah, same. So I mean, because the beers I get in, I keep seeing beers. I'm going, oh, that'd be great for content. I could probably have loads of things to talk about that. And then when it comes to doing a video, I sort of like, oh yeah, that's all right. And then there's loads that I think, oh, I can't be asked to do a video on that. And I crack it open, it's brilliant, and I think I could think of like 20-minute content on it, and I haven't set it up to do it. I could, I suppose, halfway through set it up and do it, but it's just like it's kind of the moment's gone then. So I've lost so many by not doing it, and then at the end of the day, I think it don't matter. I just enjoyed the beer.
Yeah, I mean, so in my little notebook from last year, I had 3,125 different beers that I had tried in the entire of 2022.
Yeah.
Of course, beer festivals help a lot. But I was kind of thinking to myself, that's a massive number given there's only 365 days in a year.
Yeah.
But then I think back to, when I went to the London Craft Beer Festival and they had like 54 beers on the Friday, of which about 15 of them were actual pints in the pub, in a craft beer pub afterwards.
Well, that's time to be. Surely, haven't got time to be noting them down and working out what it is and what they taste like. Just drinking them.
Well, funny enough, I always used to be very good with handling my beer. It doesn't really affect me too much.
We've noticed.
But to be honest, this year, because obviously I don't know if it's just the meds that I'm on now for my health.
Gotcha.
I'll have a few beers now, and words will start to slur, and I'm thinking, why the flipping hell you slur? You've only had one beer, and it could be like a 3.8%, but it'll start. So I'm just like, I don't know if that's just the medication.
It could be, yeah. I
because
usually find that is
I
like,
can't go from drinking 30 imperial stouts on a live stream to one small beer and I'm slurring like I don't know what, as if I've
yeah.
been on the drink for 4 days.
I always used to find that occurred when I'd accidentally forgotten to have any food before I've started on a session, which don't happen that much these days either. So
Mm. I mean, what have I had today? I've had a Pringle. I nicked a few chips out the calf. That was it.
a single Pringle.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Pringles. But yeah, it's kind of. But it is my birthday, and eating's cheating, and Pringles.
Funny enough, I've been eating Pringles. Chicken. What's it? Chicken and rosemary flavour. They were just cheap, so I've actually been eating less crisps and shit this year, consciously. But I did fall for a cheap packet of Pringles today.
Disco. We're only 34 days into the year. So I've had a lot less this year than last year. We're only 34 days in.
Well, yeah,
That'll be why.
that's usually about where it falls apart. You know, it's just somewhere into February. It's like, oh yeah, I've done all that good stuff. I don't make New Year's resolutions and like consciously usually try to cut down. I kind of have a little bit this year, but for other reasons really. But yeah, it won't last. It won't last. Never does.
So when are we expecting you and Rasco to once again meet up?
Well, I don't know, to be fair, because he's quite busy at the moment offline. So he doesn't kind of get over this way too much. I'm hoping he might pop up. I was meant to be up my local Perivale tomorrow, but they've moved the tap day to the following week for some complications or other. Maybe he'll wander over there for a quick video or something if he's free on the Saturday. But yeah, we've got no plans at the moment. But as I say, I've adapted to the online meetups, and that's good enough. That kind of works. Like I say, I've moved this one from Rasco's not around this weekend, so I don't think there'll be a 10 o'clock stream tomorrow unless I don't know, I'm particularly bored or just sort of do some impromptu 10 o'clock business tomorrow. So I've moved it to a little afternoon thing just for because Rasco's not around and well, he was about. So I said, "Do you want a beer?" And he said, "Yeah, happy days. Thank you for that." Just a quick question. I've called this stream Poets Day Pints, and I'm assuming everybody else knows what Poets Day means, right?
They haven't got a clue, Disco.
Have you not? See, I thought it was like a fairly universal term, but I admit I've not heard it for about 20 years. So it's like a working men's term, and I about 20 years ago when I was doing like a 9 to 5 job, it stands for piss off early tomorrow Saturday. Right? And I thought it was like a universal thing, and so that's why I've called it that. But I wanted to check whether everybody else knew about it. But maybe it's just a London thing. I don't know. I think there's like I looked on Wikipedia, and I think it might have come out of Australia. I think there's like another version of it called Punch Out Early tomorrow Saturday, just to keep it clean. But I can't imagine anybody has used a punching in and out machine for the last 20 years anyway. I certainly haven't. Like for 20, like the last well, when I was doing a 9 to 5, we did have like a little clock card machine and punching out. But okay, maybe that's just me. I thought Poets Day was a thing.
It probably is. I mean, obviously, up here every day is a day for pints, and you know, but that's just a Teesside.
Well, this is true. I mean, also, obviously, it doesn't apply to people like you that start at silly o'clock in the morning and maybe finish a bit earlier in the afternoon anyway. But obviously, like, it came from a time when the majority of people were doing 9 to 5. So if you could get an extra hour off on a Friday, it must be a certain historical time when people stopped doing compulsory Saturdays, because it used to be like 5.5 day week, and everybody used to have to do a Saturday as well.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it's
I work 7 days a week now, so it's kind of
right.
any day off I can get is well treasured.
Yeah.
Which just basically just means I just sleep all day.
Just to catch up. But I imagine you haven't booked yourself on for tomorrow, have you?
Yeah, I'm working, but I don't get there till 7, 7:30 in the morning. I've got
Ah,
other people opening
that's
up
it.
and doing things.
Extra 2 hours later, yeah.
But I started late this morning. Naughty me. I was at 3 a.m. instead of
I haven't
2
worked.
a.m. on my birthday. I should have had the day off, but you can't do that when you're self-employed.
Well, technically, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you
It's
can.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's a misconception. I'm self-employed. I can work whenever I want.
Yeah.
Actually, you find you can never have a day off
Yeah. Even
because
when you've got a day off, you've always got one mind on what's happening at the business, even if you've got somebody there covering it.
yeah, and every day is a day to make money. So
Yeah.
if you take a few days off, all of a sudden the following week you're a bit short on cash and stuff because you think, oh well, I had a few days off.
Yeah. 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 It depends on the business, on whatever the business that you're in when you're self-employed, whether you've got a team under you that can cover it or stuff like that. I guess.
Yeah, I've got 14, but I'm going to be truthfully honest. They're totally clueless.
Well, you employed them.
Yeah, I think I employed them on false pretenses. I think, um,
Let's not get too serious with that one.
but but the kind of they're learning. A lot of them have never worked in the trade, but
Yeah.
I wanted to give people a job in where I live. So that's kind of how I got to this stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I could have had a big, massive, fancy washing machine that'll wash all the pots all in one go.
Yeah.
My washing machine is called Ian, and he's a 66-year-old bald bloke that tells the worst dad jokes you will ever know. But that's the type of thing I went for. So it's kind of
Well, worse
them
than me,
oh, he's terrible.
because that's pretty
He
bad.
is. Yeah, no, he's when you think of dry humor, yeah, it's a good job his hands are in water all day. Otherwise, I'd be very worried for him. He's that dry.
If there was any kind of comic timing gods or whatever, Slurpee would now pop up in the comments with a terrible joke, but it doesn't always work like that.
Slurpee would be off winding other people, or in Liverpool or Manchester.
Yeah, maybe he's off doing another video. I haven't seen a video from him for this week, I don't think, unless I've missed it.
When was his last one? His last one was a few weeks ago as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was because he normally puts them out on a Thursday, so I think his last one was last week because we referenced it on the show on Saturday. So I didn't see one yesterday. So
No.
I'm just trying to work out what to go to next because I got a port. I was only going to do an hour, but we might as well just carry on if you want to. If you're,
Yeah, I've got nothing else to do tonight, so.
Did I hear you was going to do a live, or was that this one?
Yeah, well, I was going to do a live, but you know what? It just depends on how drunk I get in the meantime. So,
Well, I put the show out at 4 o'clock, because traditionally that's when Poets Day starts. If you can get the hour off, but I always assume there'd be some people doing lives at 5, although there used to be, but I don't see too many people doing lives, early evening lives at the moment. So I thought I'd slip one in. If it goes over 5, if there's anybody else about doing one, then so be it.
I think the Ewok is live. Mark.
Oh, really? Uh huh. Oh, jolly good. Well,
I think he was going to do a. I mean, obviously, we had Crummy in the chat earlier. It was really good to be on Crummy's stream on last Saturday.
yeah. So I caught a bit of that, and yeah, and big thanks to Crummy for actually giving us a shout out, and a load of people came over to me and Rasco on afterwards. So cheers to you guys for doing that shout.
And it's a little bit, of a rare occasion because let's face it, between John, Crummy, and Mark, not many other people get to go on their streams. So, I felt a bit privileged. Or he was just a little bit bored talking to himself, so he thought, yeah why not?
I think
I'll just have a northern person that I can't understand on for the next couple of hours. And
I think last time I was on with Crummy, it was in the early days when he first started, and it was just a random live he did from a campsite somewhere in Scotland or something. He was sort of like sitting in amongst the trees, and I'm in there. That was kind of funny. Oh, Adam's on the beers, just clocked off. Good. Clocked off on time, which is unheard of. Not about beer. Best dressed chicken in town from Sure Shot. It's easy for you to say. 3.5. I've seen that one about, and yeah. I've not raced into Sure Shot yet. Well, I probably won't because it's sort of like one of them kind of slightly hypey beers, isn't it?
Are you actually dressed and in clothes, Mersey? If not, you never know. If you ask Disco nicely, he might send you the link.
Yeah, Mersey, if you want to pop on and say hello, more the merrier. Well, not more the merrier. I want to keep it.
You never know. In 2 hours' time, Rasco might just have a little look what's happening, and Disco be with 6 people on panel and chat going crazy, and Rasco be thinking
37 people in. I'm trying to work out what I don't know whether to keep it with the pails. I've got a porter and a stout lined up, or do I have another pail and then move up or not? I don't know. I quite enjoyed those two lagers. To be fair, they sat back quite well. So I can't be bothered to move. I'm just going to go onto this little can of, funnily enough, brown ale. That I thought it was a porter, but it's not. It's a brown ale from a brewery that nobody knows how to pronounce properly, because I will always resolutely call it Frome, because that's what I've called it since I was a kid, having seen it on the train station going through it on the way to the West Country. But apparently it's Frome. It needs an extra O, and I'm sure loads of people have said that. But yeah, down in Wiltshire. I don't remember. I know there's a lot of talk about Frome Brewery last year. I never picked any up. I was given this. And I've just messed that pour up. I think it's been sitting in my stash too long. Oh, that's terrible. We'll hold on to that for a bit.
See, I've kind of done the clever thing because I started with that sour IPA.
Yeah.
And now I'm on another sour, but it contains chili and chocolate.
Okay.
So my next beer will probably be a stout.
Yeah.
So I've built up, even though it's 2 sours.
I like your thinking.
The flavour profile is taking me to chocolatey heaviness on the palate. It's kind of, until I hit an IPA after that. Or a 11.8% Durham.
Durham's another one on the list up that way that I need to get onto, and it's like I keep looking on the bottles, and there's too much good stuff there, and I've never got around to pulling trigger on that one.
People may know that I've done a little mini series on Durham.
Yeah.
And at the minute, there's only 2 videos that came up. That's because when I went to do my 3rd video, a friend came round and I ended up drinking the 3rd day, the 4th day, the 5th day, and the 6th day beer all in that one session. So I've had to order another 4 beers from, and it just so happens that I've got other beers that could fill their place, but it's my birthday and I don't really fancy filming a review, so why not just drink them once again in succession?
I tell you what, I've just noticed all the numbers just suddenly nosedived, and then I looked on YouTube, and Mark at a craft beer hub is doing the quick pint is Friday virtual pub chat, which, as I said, was why I put mine in at 4, just in case anybody did do a 5. So we could always wander over there and have a look in a bit.
We could do a disco raid.
Yeah.
We all know it's the rage with Angie and people like that. Quick, leave, go and raid. What are we raiding? The chat. I'm normally in there giving him a few insults anyway, Anna, so
yeah.
that'll come a bit later. No doubt that's where Sir Crummy has gone.
Indeed.
Handsome John will join him about 8 o'clock. Tell everyone how busy he's been and non-stop, and he's got orders to put out, and he's been looking at a new car, and his old car from 1933 that he had for 2 days. Yeah, I mean, that's John.
I need to have a chat with John. I've got to go and put a little order in, I think, for those new abandoned car bottles.
Well, I heard him say about the stout that obviously Disco made me do it.
Yeah, I know.
And that but he didn't say it went wrong, just that they're doing something for this year.
I think it didn't go quite as well as expected, and they've got a plan to barrel age some of it, kind of mellow it out a little bit, I guess, and just bung it in a barrel for a year and see what happens. So it was meant to be for this Christmas or last Christmas just gone. So that'll be, see what happens in December, whether it works, what they decide to do with
now
it.
we could have a Disco made me do it, and then the barrel age version could be Disco made us wait.
Well, hopefully come Christmas, I'll at least be able to, if everything isn't still hell in a handcart, I might actually be able to get up to Huddersfield and check out the brewery for myself and have a pint of Disco made me do it or Disco made me wait. We shall see.
I mean, funny enough, I'm actually booked in at a few smaller local breweries.
Yeah.
The next one is at the end of this month, and it's actually on a farm, out in the sticks, not far from where I am. And he said, "Come round, I'll show you the farm. We'll drink a beer. You can review some beers." So I'm kind of planning on kind of like a vlog type of thing for the day.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe with kind of 1 or 2 live beer reviews throughout the day. So, but some of his names for beers are superb because they're all music but farm themed. So the title are songs, but they're also farm themed. So it's pretty good.
Do you know what the first thing I thought of when you said that was it was it Wonder Stuff? Something about the side of a cow. Or is that REM? It doesn't know. I've got the riff in mind, but I can't. I can never remember song titles. I'm terrible at it. I'm just going to try and come up with some terrible puns. Adam says, not sure if this beer is for disco. Idaho 7, Citra and Centennial. Well, no, probably not. That little combination. Again, 3 hops. Well, Citra, not a big fan of generally. But there is some good stuff. If it's muted, I'm fine with it. Idaho 7, I've had a few beers of Idaho 7, and it's just, yeah. Centennial, again, I don't know as much about as I should have. But yeah, that combination, might as well just chuck in Azaka and a couple of others. And yeah, it's definitely not for me. Doesn't mean I won't try it. Like I said, I'll try anything once. If I like it, I'll try it again. Mainly that applies to beer, not just generally. Don't call Huddersfield Huddlesfield, or the locals will make fun of you. Yeah, I'll get round in a huddle.
So the last time I was there, he had Old Red Eye and me and the farmer.
Right.
Old Red Eye is it? I think it's a band. And Me and the Farmer is a song from the House Martins.
Oh, there we go. I've worked out how to do the solo layout. It's marked solo layout. I don't know that House Martins reference.
Yeah, Me and the Farmer is one of their songs.
Okay.
And then the other one, which I really enjoy, is The Dark Side of the Moo.
Like it.
So it's a pretty ingenious way of linking farming with beer.
Yeah.
And if everyone wants to know, they are Upper House Brew Farm.
We'll have a look at that.
Um,
Whereabouts are they?
They're just up the road in Sedgefield.
Ah, okay. Ah, Sedgefield. We all know Sedgefield, don't we?
Yep. Some people may know it from Mr. Blair.
Yeah. I've actually stayed. I think I've stayed in a travel lodge in Sedgefield, or was it a Premier Inn? I've stayed in Sedgefield, out on the Ring Road, a long time ago. Don't remember it, to be fair, but
There's Mr. Blair. Some people Sedgefield races. That's also where my pop shop is based as well, in Sedgefield.
okay. All right, yeah.
So it kind of probably tells you the area where I am. Although I'm on the North Yorkshire side of the river, so the better side, as it were.
Right, yeah.
I like that. Right, yeah.
No, well, I do. I know the geography actually not as well as I should. Like I say, I've been up that area, but not for some time. 4 years, in fact. 4 years. Next week, actually, we was there in. No, we was there early March, not early February. Did Sunderland away, then we stayed for a week in Whitley Bay, and then did all the Weatherspoons to the south, down towards. We didn't quite get into Middlesbrough. We did all the ones down that coast, and County Durham, crossed all them off.
Down towards Hartlepool.
Well, no, we didn't go into Hartlepool. I can't remember why. I think we'd done them before. But we got into the two just outside of Stockton. The Scott something. It's been a while. I'm terrible for anecdotes when I know what I'm talking about. And I suddenly can't remember the names.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pubs that have gone out and down and out the window. A lot of breweries have gone out over this last year as well. Some of my friends in the gin and rum distillery game, they've gone out of business.
Yeah.
So there was quite a few things that I wanted to do this year when visiting distilleries and distilling stuff. It turns out I can't now because they've all gone out of business. Well, not all of them, but the majority of the ones that I've lined up, which is a bit of a shame.
Yeah. It's an
It's
interesting
one of
one.
the
Adam saying there's that sure shot surprisingly bitter for a hazy pale. This one's surprisingly kind of hoppy for a brown ale. I suppose it is an American brown, but it says here crisp and fruity with understated earthy tea-like notes. Now I don't really put tea with earthiness. That's more the kind of grapefruit hoppiness that this has got. But it's interesting. It's not massively hoppy, but it's got that kind of interesting kind of hop note in the background to it.
Good day, Sam.
Good day, Sam. Good morning to you. Good evenings we're getting into now. Right, here's one for Sam then. Having said Poets Day being possibly an Australian expression, I'm imagining Sam will know Poets Day. Sounds like
but
the sort of thing
Sam would
Australia
actually have to work to know what that is.
It
Sorry,
works.
Sam.
It just works opposite hours to what everybody does over
Yeah, blood-sucking vampire. Fancy working during the night. Unbelievable.
here.
This is a slurper of a sour, that's for sure. I don't know if a lot of the time some of the burn I'm getting is the chili or whether or not it's a alcohol burn.
Yeah.
Because there's kind of an imbalance from the chili. So sometimes you'll get like obviously with the chili sometimes it comes up smooth. And in a beer it kind of lends itself to come smooth and not kind of acidic. Where this has got a little bit of both.
What's the ABV on it? Is it hot? Is it a big one?
It's a 7.5.
Okay.
Which isn't big, but you could still possibly get the alcohol. It does say twice the cherry edition. To be honest, the cherry's quite subtle.
Okay. That's the other thing about cherry. Why does it always have to be? Why does it always have to be sort of sour cherry? Why can't it be sweet cherry? But
yeah, like a Morinello, something just nice and.
I'd be happy with Glacier cherry to be honest, but it always seems to be it always. I mean, I guess that's probably when you put it in a beer, it's going to pick up the tartness and the sour a bit more. But yeah, I like sweet cherry.
And a Glacier cherry would be sweet, won't it? Like really sweet.
Yeah. I mean, artificially, but I'm fine with that. I'm fine with. I haven't found a beer that's too sweet for me yet. I don't mind the sweetness. I know a lot of people aren't keen, but
you should try that Thornbridge Caribbean rum barrel aged stout at 13%. That was off the chart in sweetness.
Yeah, I've got a surprising amount of high ABV beers, stouts sitting in there that I keep meaning to get around to, but again, Thornbridge is a brewery I haven't been to for a while. Just again because in the early days in 2020 when I started buying online, I'd probably have half a dozen or so orders out of them because I could just pick up like Market Porter and the chocolate stout just to kind of have stock. But yeah, I've kind of gone away from them a little bit. I don't even really see much of their stuff coming up on social media anymore. I don't know. I don't think they've stopped it, but I used to see them on like Twitter all the time. That's why I put orders in.
Yeah. But I think with Thornbridge, didn't they undergo a move or a transition from one place to I know they were at, was it Thornbridge Hall or Lodge?
Oh, that was before lockdown. I think they was already at Bakewell before COVID. So they had moved up. So it's another one where they've obviously increased capacity. So they've got more stuff coming out a lot. And because I don't really do subscription boxes, a lot of their stuff was going like there's quite a good subscription box that they do. But again, it's always going to be something I'm not interested in it. I just want to buy individual beers, and again, that obviously racks up the price.
Yeah. Well, I mean, funny enough, we had this conversation with the Americans. Was it last week? And we were talking about how they, in a lot of states, they can only buy multi-packs.
Yeah.
So for them to review one beer, they have to buy 4, 6, or 24, 36 cans. And it's kind of like, I don't think I'd buy that much in to review just one beer.
It's the same way with there's a few of the kind of smaller breweries, smaller mid-level breweries here that insist on putting everything in like 6 or 12 packs. And I understand probably price points. It's difficult for them to do singles and stuff like that. But there's a lot of breweries I want to get. I'd say Raggy's Lincoln Green was one for a while until they bought the Raggy's beer out and they started putting more multi-packs out, but you still have to buy 12, which isn't normally a problem because you want to fill a box up. But again, it racks up the price. So there's a lot of breweries I'd love to get into, but don't quite want to buy 12 beers at a time. But I understand why they do it. But there are a lot of breweries that have only 12 packs of individual beers rather than having a multi-pack as well, which it's just, I'd love to, and I want to support the breweries, but I just can't. Especially, as you say, in order to review it, I only want a pair, really, at most.
Yeah. I mean, my local brewery, one of them, Play Brew in Middlesbrough.
Another one I probably only know through you, really, seeing them, and so much good stuff on there. And again, I've looked on them to get them in. It's just a case of Play Brew would have been one I would have put on from the Duckling, but again, just so much good stuff. I can't pull every trigger on it.
Yeah. See, Play Brew only sell boxes of 18.
Oh, really?
Which is a kind of a stupid number, let's face it. And I've said to them, you know what, if you've done singles or even smaller multi-packs, you do know you'd sell a lot more.
I think so, yeah.
But they're kind of allowing bottle shops to buy the cases and then sell them individually. And I'm thinking, wouldn't it ramp up your revenue more if you did the same? But I don't know if it's just a little bit case of being a bit lazy.
It's always this again.
A case of 18 is going to be trade, more or less, isn't it? It's not going to be.
It depends on your business case, I suppose, because if you're that level of brewery that you're getting out to bottle shops are going to want it, obviously, I guess, at your wholesale price, so that you can then put your markup, and then the brewery. There was a whole big discussion in 2020 when breweries started getting their own websites and putting their own stuff out because of COVID. It's like, well, are you undercutting the bottle shops? Is it doing the bottle shops a disservice if I'm going directly to the brewery? And there is very few breweries I'll go to direct. Well, it's not the case, because I'm more likely to buy it from, say, Trebler Manners because the prices are good. But there's very few breweries I'll go to direct on that regular basis. And I won't go to a brewery if they're only doing 12 packs of a single beer, because I just can't buy. I don't mind buying 12 beers, but they're going to be probably 4, 5, 6 different beers.
Yeah. I mean, for me, so like Durham Brewery. Lavenders. No, there's a thought.
Yeah, Adventure Beers. That's where I got Lincoln Green from. Eventually, well, that's where I got them from before Lincoln Green started doing that multi-pack with Raggy's beers. Adventure Beers are pretty good actually for stuff from Nottinghamshire, Derbyshire, Leicester kind of area. So again, haven't been to them for a while, but yeah.
I mean, I was saying like Durham Brewery. So their P.E.T.S barrel costs me about £8 a bottle, £9 a bottle.
Yeah.
But when I was talking to Craig was like, yeah, that's like 14, 15 quid for a bottle down south. And I was like, so here's the funny thing. When bottle shops buy it at trade, they buy it at the same trade price all the way. So in the entire country, every beer is bought from the brewery at the same price.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of the difference between buying beer in the north to buying beer in the south seems to be huge. Aberdeen Stout, I know Rasco reviewed it on this channel from Tartarus. I was selling it at £8 a bottle. I think it was something like, was it £17 in London? And I was just like, crikey.
His was 15. He did it at 15 because he done it for 15 challenge. But then there is an argument that it's sort of like, if you don't know that, is it a problem? If you're happy to pay 15 quid for that, especially that beer, basically, I never had it, but if you're happy to pay that, is it a problem that you can get it? You could get it for like 6, 7 quid, 8 quid.
Yeah, obviously, it wouldn't be a problem for me, but I think continuity with the public. I sometimes, when I buy beers, I'll buy a load of beer, get it in, and then go, oh, bloody hell, that was £2 cheaper at my other bottle shop.
It's too late. Too late to find it out by then, knowing that you've either drunk it or you've already got it, so it doesn't really matter.
But it kind of gives you a view of, well, do I use the other bottle shop because they're a little bit cheaper on beers than them? And I find it hard sometimes when I do support the different bottle shops, because it's kind of, one or two of them may see you as a traitor. You're a loyal customer, but I've got the same beers as them, but you've just bought them beers when you could have bought them off me, and it's like.
Also there's the fact that certainly with Rasko, and probably in a lot of other cases, where he gets his beers from at the Art and Craft, it's at the end of his road, and well, not his road, but it's like literally up the road across town where he is. Like he's kind of just out town on the edge of the main bit there. So, and also there's the supermarket, not supermarket, the local shop that he goes to that's got a really good selection of craft beers, both local and national. That's even closer. So it's like, would you pay that extra £6 just not have to wait to get it? Just walk up the road, and you've probably already saved that £6 by that. You could just go and get it that afternoon, maybe. I don't know. It's a trade off between what's the delivery price plus the extra bit of price for them to get it in. It's sort of like, it's a trade off, isn't it?
Yeah. Adam's actually wrote an essay.
I love Trembling Madness, but sometimes it's a bit of a bum rush to get certain beers. I've been using Optimist. Yeah, I've heard of them. I keep looking at them as well more recently. They're in Yorkshire, not to be confused with Optimism. Optimism, I think, is closed or closing. I believe one of them is. Again, I've seen the names probably on Twitter, I think. This is the thing with Trembling Madness. I only recently found out about points on Trembling Madness. I've got a £5 on Trembling Madness.
Yeah. Funny enough, Beer 52 to give you points. So if you go on their website after you add a case and you review the beers on their website, their points convert into cash. I think I've got something like £48.20.
Yeah, it does. The only difference is Trembling Madness do it out of the goodness of their hearts, whereas Beer 52 they kind of do it just to drag you back in again. I don't think Trembling Madness. I probably shouldn't say this because it's like, but yeah, I think they do. Beer 52 do that, and it's kind of. I I racked up a fiver once. I don't really get beer 52 beers anymore because I just, again, can't pay that 30 quid for just some random stuff. But I did rack up. I think I've got £1.50 at the moment. But I did have up to a fiver, and I did get a couple of disco beers for that, so I was quite pleased. But I've stopped going so much to beer 52.
I mean, for me, so actually, like, I would say, in the most part, I haven't had too many disappointing beers from beer 52.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Because... So I'm kind of, I hear people say, oh, you know, but you only get it in 330ml cans. I'm like, you do, but actually, some of them beers are from countries I never buy beer from.
True. I mean, as a beer reviewer, it should be a good way because you get to try a lot of beers. And like I say, you can get you're only getting singles, so you sort of directly into that beer. But my only thing with that is it's a lot of session IPAs, a lot of session pales, and obviously there's stouts and porters as well. But it's kind of a lot of beers I probably wouldn't normally buy, and they're all perfectly decent, but they end up being much of a muchness, and they're all good breweries. Clearly, like I say, I don't think I've ever had a bad beer. I've had a load of beers that I'm just not that particularly fussed about because they're session pales and session IPAs.
If I open this one that's just arrived, because I'm not sure what this month is yet. I don't really keep track. I think sometimes, like in December, I receive like 2 boxes from Beer 52.
Yeah.
Because it's every couple of weeks. So, so this sign is Double Dutch.
Just like a live beer unboxing, Luke.
So the beers this month. Double. So I suppose they're all from the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Let's have a little. There's always snacks. I do like the snacks, to be honest.
Yeah, the snacks are alright.
Tangy cheese, crunchy chickpeas. Why not? So actually, I'm quite surprised here at the minute because I can see 4 bottles.
Oh, okay.
And I always like it when they put bottles in.
All right. Pretty fair it is, but yeah.
Hammer and Sickle Porter from Brewery de Morton.
Hammer and Sickle. I was going to say Russian, but you've already said Dutch, so.
Yeah, it's from the Netherlands. Brewery de Molen. Chinook, size and oatmeal. Yeah, Hammer and Sickle, pronounced Hammer and Sickle. I mean, it doesn't say Butch. I've got another one called, from the same brewery, Up and Top, which is a pale ale. Up and Top is also at its best in Dutch. That's what that means.
You with the Dutch language skills.
Well, funny enough, I've got a Dutch friend that has a bar in Spain, and quite regularly when I go over to Spain, he has me working behind the bar in the kitchen because why not? The next one is a 4.5 wheat beer called Strip from P.O.E.T.S. Bottle Twinkles Superior Pilsner.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of these, obviously, the 330ml. But it's a good introduction to those breweries, and obviously with Beer 52 because I have a load of points. If I like any, I just go and buy some. Joppen Extra Stout Dutch Dry Stout at 5.5%.
Oh no, that one I've seen about the place a bit. Yoppen, yeah.
Is it Thomas? Who
Yeah.
Thomas Open? That's on Craig's stream.
Yeah. I haven't seen much from him recently. I know he's still there about, but
Now I know this beer. The West Coast Double Dry Hop IPA.
so
The reason why I know it, I've had this one before. 6%, and I actually really enjoyed that last time.
okay.
So I'm not disappointed with that at all. Funny enough, another beer that I've had before. Munich Hell's beer. That was pretty good as well, actually, for 4.4%. Mango Pale? No. So this is called Double Dutch.
Uh-huh.
This brewery is actually from Denmark. So this is a collab beer. It's a mango pale ale. Dag mango. Dutch for mango, basically. It's not Denmark, it's Norway. Yeah, that must be a collab, I think. Otherwise, why is it in a double Dutch box? Daily Grind Coffee Stout from Moderslutel.
I can never pronounce that. I know Moorslutel. Sounds like you've been having a few of them. Isn't it? I love the Dutch language. It's great. It sounds like it's like a more passive German, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a 6%.
Lovely.
And last but not least, Two Chefs Brewing Flat White Espresso Milk Stout.
Doesn't sound very Dutch, but why not?
Who is it by? Well, it's Two Chefs Brewing. Are they Dutch? Brewed and canned, they are indeed. Mos van Hanford, which is Amsterdam. Yeah.
Gotcha. That's not best to get one up. And agrees with Thomas messaged him earlier in the week. Lovely. Yeah, see, this is the thing, right? Beer 52, just, I don't know, how well do they, because they do force breweries to go into 330 cans and stuff like that, but as always, they have their place, and if you're happy with the box you got, then happy days. Do you know what I mean? Slurpy's in the house. We were talking about you earlier, sir.
We were talking about Mr. Slurpee.
I knew a girl from Holland with inflatable shoes. Unfortunately, she popped her clogs. Good man, sir. We were talking about terrible jokes earlier.
Yeah, that was a tulip for the book.
Well, he shuffled in, didn't he? So, actually, in Holland, they don't call them clogs. They look at you funny if you call them clogs in Holland. In Holland, they call them klompums. That's my little bit of Dutch knowledge for you. If you say, oh, where are you wearing your clogs in Holland? They look at you funny as if you're wearing timepieces on your feet. They think you're saying clocks. Because we made that mistake once when we went to Holland, and they looked at us really weird talking about clogs.
Oh, that does not surprise me with the Dutch.
Lovely people, brilliant country. I love going there.
Lovely people, set in their ways, and the majority of them smoking, have a real good time.
Yeah.
Funny enough, in Spain, a lot of the Dutch regulars that go at the same time every year, because it's just like one big massive meetup every year. it's quite cool. And they call me Mr. Croquette because one year I was there and I had to make, I think it was something like 300 lamb croquettes. You know, we get like potato croquettes,
Yeah.
but they have it with lamb meat,
Okay. Yeah.
lamb beef, and it's actually very good with a bit of American mustard. So they call me Mr. Croquette, and ever since, I've now got a little plaque in the bar above the chair that just says reserved for Mr. Croquette. And it's funny how many people get a photo sat and they pretend that they're Mr. Croquette. Probably because they really enjoy croquettes, but I think it's quite good that the Dutch love it, and it's named after an English lad.
That sounds like a good beer challenge. Go and find Luke's Mr. Croquette's seat.
Yeah. Well, funny enough, where Slurpee went in Tossa de Mar, it's just a little bit down the coast towards Barcelona. You can hop on the boat.
Okay, cycling in Holland because it's all flat or downhill. Yeah, well, a lot of people go cycling in Holland. It's kind of a big thing there. I went to Holland once for a football. I went on a football trip to not watch any football because it got cancelled like the week before we went. But we went anyway for the beer because we just sat around all day in Enschede and just drank really, really good Dutch and Belgian beer. And then we got to the end of it and realised we hadn't drunk anything below 7% all afternoon and all evening. Good stuff.
Well, I've been a few times. The last time I actually went, it was quite some year ago. Some people may remember before the Europa League became popular. That Middlesbrough were in the UEFA Cup final in Eindhoven, where we took a little bit of a tonkin. What a campaign that was to be part of. So, and I enjoyed it more because not only was it super fantastic, but I also got paid to watch the games. So I was quids in, and yeah, good part of Middlesbrough's football and history.
Yeah. Well, we went because we had a pre-season friendly. We had three pre-season friendlies lined up, and because we'd gone the year before, and there was 3 people that caused a bit of trouble in Maastricht, the Dutch police pooped themselves and decided to cancel our games because they said the local infrastructure couldn't cope with 150 Plymouth Argyle fans rocking up in town. And they gave some lame excuse. There was a butterfly festival in town, and this is like in a small Dutch town on the east coast, in the eastern side, not by the border. And so we all went anyway, and there was no trouble whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Never let it be said that Slurpee's not into recycling, because John used this joke yesterday on his stream, and I've no doubt Slurpee was there. I used to make potato puffs. I chased them around the garden.
Yep.
Which wasn't one of John's jokes, but it's not bad. I quite like that. It's like how to make a Swiss roll, push it down a hill.
Well, I was at Three Brothers the other night, and for about the last 2 or 3 years, you could not get your hands on one of their chalice glassware.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that because I was saying I want something much better to drink my beer out of than just a normal standard Three Brothers pint glass.
Yeah.
On the brewery floor, on a shelf in a deep dark corner of the brewery was a Soul little glass, which is their own branded chalice glass,
Nice.
and it's a full pint, which is quite rare, I think, now to actually have a proper chalice glass.
Yeah.
That is a pint. But it's a lovely glass. They used to sell these for 10, 12 quid. I got it for nothing. And all the said was, don't diss us in public, or we know where you live. So yeah, that's now kind of one of the. I've got so much glassware. It is unbelievable how many glasses I have collected.
I've been really good with glassware. It's the sort of thing I would normally be predisposed to, like, pick up, because I do like. But I've been really good because of costs. I'm like, I just get the beer. I'll just get another beer rather than a glass. I've got plenty of glasses to drink out of, and yet I would love some more. But like this one, I was pleased because I won it, so I didn't have to buy it. But Campbell glass. So I'm like, yeah, and actually, I wouldn't normally drink out of that kind of chalice, but it's been really good. I drink out of that quite a lot. But actually, this one I won as well. I think. I know I bought this one from Trembling Man, but I do like that shape of pint glass. I think it really, don't know, especially like pale ales and lagers and stuff. It kind of just funnels everything up to the. Compared to, I used to be staunchly a proper, wide top pint glass, but I do like that shape of pint glass these days.
Yeah, the nice thing about this, the nucleation around the bottom.
Yeah.
So it's nucleated all around the edge.
Yeah.
Which is kind of my style. I don't understand some of the glassware now that you get that is not nucleated, because I just think everybody needs a nucleated glass.
Depends on the beer style, though, doesn't it? You don't really need that for like stouts and stuff, do
you? Not really, but I do think, especially with these new day stouts that we're getting, where it's nitro and things like that, it does help. I mean, the movement now towards nitro stouts, that's only going to gain traction over the next 36 months.
Yeah, it already is kind of gaining traction. There's a few other camper van up in Edinburgh just brought out a nitro stout, but they're putting it in cans, but they're not putting it in nitro cans, which is a bit odd. But again, if the stout's good enough, I guess it doesn't matter. But yeah, nitros. I'm slowly picking up a few nitro cans because the Siren one I had looked really good on the pour, and I put like a short out. I've not got around to doing the other nitros I've got in. Another one from Slurpee. I was standing next to a grasshopper at a footy game. He didn't seem interested. I said, "What's up with you?" The grasshopper said he prefers cricket.
Shocking.
There we go. Yeah, Seven Brothers in Manchester. I had a couple of orders out of Seven Brothers. 2020. They did some interesting stuff, but I've sort of tailed off from them a little bit, just because I put all the other new breweries. I've not really. I've sort of prioritised doing new stuff rather than breweries I've already featured. Apart from the breweries I've still not got around to. I'll tell you another one I keep wanting to do. Talking about bottles, in the same vein of Durham, is North Riding. Over in, I think they're in Hull or Scarborough. They do a lot of bottled stouts, like flavoured stouts. Like they do like a cheesecake one and a Rocky Road stout and stuff like that.
I think the Bridlington, that like Scarborough way.
Scarborough, yeah.
I clean these glassware by hand, And sometimes, even by hand, it's just not good enough. Why is there a smudge there? There shouldn't be a smudge.
Right, watch out, Luke. You've triggered Slurpee with the nucleated glass. Yeah, you don't need stouts. Like, I can see it for some ales and like lagers and stuff like that, but real ales, it's only the same as having a sparkler on, really, to be fair, I suppose. But then every pint that Slurpee drinks in his videos is always pretty much spot on perfect.
But to be honest, I do think sometimes Slurpee has 4 or 5 just to get that perfectly right.
Well, I'm not going to give any away trade secrets, but I think I know how he does it. Because him and Bramwell have talked about it. So I'm wondering if it's sheer numbers. You can't get that many absolutely decent pints every time without maybe a little bit of assistance. I'm just guessing. Just guessing. Do you know what I mean? I'm not casting any aspersions. I don't mind because the pints look really good, so it does the job.
Yeah. The good old syringe bob. Did I say syringe bob? But I mean, I suppose, like you said, if it looks decent, the only thing with me that would prohibit me from doing that is I like to show it exactly how you get it. Even if it's a bad beer, it's like I can only review what I'm drinking.
But there are some pubs that I've been in previously where I've got really excited about getting a pint, and I've sat there and looked at it, and if I'd known then, I'm not against pepping the pint up a little bit just to like make the drinking experience a little bit better, even if I'm not reviewing or videoing it. Do you know what I mean? Just to have it sitting there looking proper, like sparkled and nice. Then yeah, whatever it
Funny
takes.
enough, I heard that sometimes they even give Slurpee just a little bit of syringe just to prep him up as well. Just to make him look a little bit better for the camera. I could be wrong, but that's just what I heard.
I imagine pubs on the Isle of Man see him approaching and going like battle stations, like immediately get the perfect pint out for your man, like local celebrities.
My second beer delivery of the day has just come.
Wow, that's not a name I've seen for a long time. I know Wold Top.
And Luke, no delivery address. It's Luke.
Have you got their? Did you get their marmalade one? They got a marmalade pale, aren't they? Wold Top.
I've got their marmalade. I've already got that.
I used to see that at beer festivals all the time. As one I'd go for, Wold Top all the time.
I've got their marmalade. I've got their Scarborough Fair, which is a old name.
Actually, I've seen. I think Bramwell's done Wold Top as well, hasn't he, recently?
But these are the like the Brew York. These are the Empress Tonkoko.
What?
Now what they've done is they've took Empress Tonkoko and they've released a full 440ml can of said beer.
Yeah.
But what they've done is, very cleverly, they've also aged said beer in 3 different whiskey barrels for the last year.
Yeah, they do look good.
So there's a plantation rum barrel aged Empress. There is I think this is the Heaven Hill. The Heaven Hill barrel aged, which is a bourbon.
Yeah.
And a Buffalo Trace. So they've been aged in 3 totally different barrels, which I think, because I was going to do a review of them, that's pretty good way of doing things like that. I'm going to have to use my B52 box. Who knew you were getting so many unboxing?
Yeah, that wasn't in the plan.
Next up is a brewery that we've already spoke about, which is Play Brew Co.
Nice.
And this is their new Choco Fudge Porter. Which is pretty good. It is a 5.2%, is that? And it's full of chocolate fudge and cacao nibs. Cold porter, cold dark porter. The next is a hazy pale ale. So these are brand new. These have literally only just come out of the brewery. They only got released yesterday. The tropical pale ale.
See, now for Play Brew, that sounds kind of a bit run of the mill compared to like some of the stuff I've seen. There's like, oh, they actually do like core beers. They actually do like session beers and pale ales and stuff.
Yeah,
I'm a little bit surprised by that. Like seeing them do some pale ales or whatever.
I did get another can of the Iron Brew sour.
Oh,
because I did say I enjoyed that earlier.
Yeah,
and then because I wanted to wait for these to come out because I knew these were coming. Little heads up from the brewery. My 2 cans of P.O.E.T.S, I just told them to keep hold of.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're still pretty new. Probably, from what people said, it's very good, but they are expensive. These cost me £9.90 a can.
Ooh, okay, well, yeah, 8-9 quid either way. Funnily enough, I managed to miss the hype train on that one. I mean, if anybody wants to send me some putty, especially if Verdant want to send me putty, I'll accept it. But I'm probably not going to rush out and catch the hype train on that one.
And to be honest, I think these have been sat in his van overnight because they're all pretty chilled and ready to go.
It helps this time of year, isn't it? Yeah.
So I reckon actually I'm going to pop some of these in the fridge straight away just to get them down a little bit further. Yeah. And I reckon maybe at some point later this evening,
might have a little look.
Might be ready to go.
Yeah, fair play, fair play.
Obviously, I say that some of these beers are to review. If I get round to reviewing them. Who knows? I'll just say Discord made me do it.
Yeah, I mean, I take a lot on my shoulders for that one, but it definitely wasn't me.
So my next beer, because I may as well open one, is going to be the Polly's Lost Dark Magic Stout.
Cool.
Coming in at a measly 6%. I say measly, but it's still 6%, isn't it? So sometimes I think when I'm drinking beers that are 13 to 18%, when I see some at 6, I sometimes just discount it.
Yeah.
But if anything over the last year has taught me anything, it's don't listen to what my head tells me.
Don't listen to drunk me.
Yeah. Especially drunk me.
Yeah.
So as I said, building up the different flavour profiles. And I haven't put it in a stout glass because I just want to open it up.
I tell you what, I didn't realise it was stout beer. I'm going to go and get another beer out the stash and make some room for it. Can I leave you with a little live review? You've done enough with live unboxings and reviews today, but can I leave you with another live review and then I'll be back in 30 seconds?
Yep, not a problem, mate.
Superb, sir.
So, I'll do a live review. I'm just going to get a photo for the Instagram, because where would we be without Instagram? So this is a P.O.E.T.S brewery Lost Dark Magic 6% stout. Big P.O.E.T.S on the side as usual. Stout, and all it says is Columbus. So I suppose it is a single hop stout with the darker malts. In the glass, there's a carbonation there, very slight. It's not fully jet black. There's a little bit of a chestnut hue. Decent looking head. It is very light and dissipating quite quickly, but it doesn't look too bad. So straight away malts. So it's going to be heavily malt driven. Roasty, toasty, getting the coffee, chocolate. Of course, that is more the malts rather than the Columbus hop. But yeah, let's dive in. Coffee, chocolate, slight bitterness. Mouthfeel is fantastic. That's a very smooth tasting beer. And I do believe that Disco is back.
I am.
He is from next door neighbour's garden, where he's just had a quick wee in a bush. Coffee still coming through, still lingering. That's not a bad beer for 6%. But
a good write up. It sounds pretty good, to be fair.
But I kind of get the feel that it's not a sessionable stout, because I kind of get a feel that I'm going to be stick and ready to move on to something else by the end of it. That's just a feeling I'm getting. But that's because I think it's the malts. So it's a single hop, but heavily malted stout.
Superb. Superb. Thank you very much. I'm going to go for a stout now as well. I was going to go for the Azvex cookie cutter, but actually I think I'm going to leave that and a bottle of Dark Side by Brightside. I did this during the week, so I'm going to have another one because it's a big bottle. So
sounds like a plan.
Multitasking bottle opener comes with a pizza wheel. I've never used it as a pizza for cutting a pizza because I just use a knife, but it's kind of nice to have, isn't it?
Well, that reminds me. Do you still have that pizza-themed beer?
I do actually. Yeah, I never quite got around to doing it before Christmas. and the mint custard one that goes with it as well.
Yeah, I looked at them and I thought, really?
I mean,
And then I
basically,
thought they're maybe a bit too far fetched for my liking.
um, to be honest, it's not that. It's not as wacky as it sounds because it's basically just like a tomato sour with probably a bit of herbs in it. And there's one or two tomato sours about my local brewery, Perivale. I've got one, and it's not mass. It's not like tomato sauce that you get on a pizza. It's just like a hint of tomato, kind of a bit fruity and a slightly it's more like green tomatoes than actual full on salad tomatoes. But I suspect that's what that one will be. Brass Castle
Mm,
did one. I think it was called Pizzazz, and it was like tomato and basil sour. And I suspect that's what that one will be. It's just a little bit of like it sounds wacky, but it's not actually that much really. I don't think. I'm
yeah.
not sure about the mint stout. I mean, I love a mint stout, but mint custard stout. I never had mint custard or like at school. I definitely had square pizza, but not custard to go with it. So um,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll try them at some. I've got to do them soon because they've been in there a couple of months. So I was going to do a video on that, but then I've got I've got chocolate bar beers to do. I've got the Bueno shake to do, and I've got the Star Bar stout to do as well from Ink. Oh, that's a point. Mark, the craft beer hub did a. Oh no, his was beetroot from Ink. Ink had a beetroot beer out. So as soon as we were talking about beetroot, or I was talking about beetroot earlier. Anyway,
Mm,
cheers. Bright Cider in Manchester. I'm not sure many people have heard of them. It's another one that Adam at Mersey Beers gave me a shout because they had a disco beer out, so I got some of the other stuff in, and they've all been really good. To be fair, that's a solid, fairly roasty stout. Mr. Gag from Slurpee there. My mate went to the doctors and said he's got 5 willies. Doctor said, "How do you get your trousers on? They fit me like a glove." But don't worry, they get better. Well, they get worse, but that's what I mean. Last time I had a bright side beer, Bury at the railway station in Bury. I love that place. Trackside bar. Guess what train came in? The Flying Scotsman on the East Lancs. Really? I don't see why not. Yeah, East Lancashire Railway got the trackside bar at Bury Bolton Street. It's a fantastic little bar with some really good ales on there. Um, Again, sadly, I went there for football when Bury was still in existence, and I saw a comment from Slurpee that he's a Bury fan. I suppose no surprise from the area, but I loved going to Bury. It was a fantastic day out.
mm.
Love Gig Lane, lovely place, some decent food. We probably won as an Argyle fan, and then we stole their manager. Sorry about that. Um, but yeah, Trackside Bar at Bury is fantastic little station pub. Really good drink, really good. Again, mostly cask real ales. Again, it was just about the time when there was a little bit of craft creeping in as well, or a little bit more. Real ale breweries were doing a little bit more crafty stuff. Beartown, I remember having Beartown creme brulee at Trackside Bar.
Mm.
Fantastic drink.
Did I hear that? Was it Beartown that have just closed?
Oh, I hope not. I do hope not.
I think I've seen something or related to Beartown, a
Oh,
statement that was put out.
Slurpee, nice one. Yeah, I hope not because there's another one I meant to go back to. I think they're from around that way as well, Beartown.
I shall have. I'm sure it was. There was something about Beartown. Um, Beartown Brewery.
Beartown in Congleton, well, Cheshire, so yeah, it's kind of south of Manchester. Have you heard anything about that, Slurpee? And going under? I had some good beers on. I only remember creme beerlay they called it, and again I've had that at beer festivals mostly. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I saw a thing about that the other day. There's like two Berry, like Phoenix teams in Berry, and they're kind of arguing with each other as to whether who's gonna like one's in the league and one isn't. I think, but the same league as FC Isle of Man. I've got a couple of mates who are groundhoppers, so if they get over to the Isle of Man, they want to do a little Isle of Man trip, and again that would be a good drink up. And even if they don't, I want to get to the Isle of Man for a beer at some point. Slurpee, maybe this year. Who knows?
I'm not sure. It could have been the closing the tap room, or I'm sure I've seen it and it's registered. It's these beer forum sites that you get into.
They've just opened a new tap room recently. Happy days. It's good to know. The breweries are actually able to do that and get a new tap room open in this day and age.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to have to dig it out in one of the forums. But I know obviously up here in Malton's been hit quite hard with a number of breweries closing.
In Malton?
Yeah. So Bad Seed.
Of course, yeah. I forget the Bad Seed in Malton. Yeah, I was thinking on the coast, but yeah. Bad Seed were funny. I loved a couple of their stout was really nice. They're like, was it chocolate stout or a caramel stout they had? No, cake hole. Bad Seed, but I always used to pick it up from if I did a Brass Castle order, but they never quite got their own web shop out. They always were selling stuff through Brass Castle. So I wonder if Brass Castle might take up a little bit of their stuff, maybe.
And what was the other one in Malton that's closed?
Well, there's Malton Brewery, isn't there, that do the Yorkshire pudding beer, but that they're still going.
Yeah. Obviously, Brass Castle's fine.
Yeah.
There is another, and I can't quite just figure it out. They do they help Brass Castle with the annual beer festival.
Oh yeah. I can't think who it is. I actually picked up a bottle of that Yorkshire pudding beer the other day because I happened to see it in Aldi, which again I wasn't that pleased about. But it was a 500ml bottle. I had the cans last year when I first noticed them, and it was a collab with C84. Do you know anything much about C84 up on the Yorkshire moors?
It's Beer Town. That's where I've got.
Right, yeah, Beartown, yeah.
Beartown. It's actually Beertown in Malton. That's closed.
Okay. Yeah, I think yeah.
Yeah, C84. They're based in Pickering.
I thought they was more remote than that.
Yeah, is it Crofton or Crofton? They're kind of a little way out in the sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many small local breweries. It's just getting really ridiculous now.
Yeah, I mean, it is good that there's so many about, especially local ones. But as somebody who wants to try as many beers as possible, it's so difficult. I've tried all these ones. Like Yorkshire Dales is another one I want to get back to because some of their new cans look really great. And again, I haven't been able to pull the trigger. And then you get the stuff over the other side of York. I mean, Yorkshire is so big. There's so many different breweries that it's one of the main areas that I've bought beers from. I think Yorkshire.
Mm.
I think it goes Yorkshire, Scotland, northeast above Middlesbrough.
Yeah. Obviously, Richmond Brewery in the Yorkshire Dales.
Yeah.
They're quite a traditional Yorkshire beer company.
Yeah.
We've got Gisborough Brewery, which do some pretty good stuff. Whitby Brewery do some fantastic beers. There's so many. I mean, I'm kind of spot for choice for where I am.
Very much so. Yeah.
But it's just kind of getting to the breweries, which is because they're all quite removed and in little villages and stuff like that. It's kind of just a headache. But that's kind of also where most of the bottle shops are situated, in the smaller villages. So
yeah,
apart from Three Brothers and Playbrew.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah, I mean, I was watching something on YouTube. Bury, two teams in Bury. One's got a football team, one hasn't, which is kind of a bizarre situation. But one owns the ground. But Bury aren't playing in Bury. It's a bloody silly game. You're right not to worry about it.
Well, that was a bit like Darlington. It's a Darlington Football Club a few years ago.
Yes.
If nobody knows, they once had a rather large 35,000 seater arena, and the highest they got was League Two, which doesn't really sit as a make-believe type thing.
It's a little bit difficult talking to me about Darlington because part of their trouble started in '96 when we beat them at Wembley, and it kind of all went downhill from there. I think it was the playoff final, whatever division it was, Division 4 or whatever it was called then, and Argyle took about 33,000 people to Wembley, and in fact that was my first Argyle game, and we beat Darlington 1-0. And then I think pretty much because Darlington didn't go up, that's kind of when their troubles started a little bit. And like you say, they got taken over and that stadium got built and it shouldn't have been, and it was just a little bit too much for it. And,
obviously, Darlington went into liquidation.
Yeah.
It's now Darlington 1887.
Yeah.
And they had to move out of their arena. Which, funny enough, is now occupied by Darlington Rugby Club, which at most of their games has an average gate number of around about 170 people. So there's 170 people in a 35,000 seat stadium. It doesn't make any sense. They can't have any live music.
Yeah.
It's prohibited by Darlington Council. The owner of the stadium got put away for money laundering and fraud and tax evasion and
yes.
So it's not like Middlesbrough where we've got one Steve Gibson and we do pretty okay for what goes into it.
Been there once when they moved into Riverside, and it was a really, really good away trip. I love coming to the North East for football. It's brilliant. Especially, well, mostly because as an Argyle fan, like nobody gives you any grief because they all assume you've travelled like 12 hours to get there, but I've only come up from London.
Yeah. I mean, Middlesbrough in general, you never hear much trouble kicking off.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, it's kind of now it's more family than anything else.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a family club now. Well, obviously, years gone past, it wasn't quite so family orientated, like
Gotcha.
most
Yeah.
clubs.
Well,
But,
if all goes well, maybe next year it's another trip.
well, are Plymouth going to go up to the Premier League?
Touche.
I mean, but how the season started for Middlesbrough to where we are now, it's kind of, Michael Carrick has kind of pulled the team together.
Of course, yeah, yeah. Michael Carrick, I was never really a fan of his as a player, particularly, but then I never really looked at Premier League that much. But yeah, he obviously knows his stuff, so he's doing all right.
Mm. Well, hopefully he does a lot better than Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard, John Terry, the Neville.
Well, he hasn't got to worry about that. He's only got to be better than Neil Warnock and Tony Pulis, isn't he? Really?
Yeah. Because, I mean, obviously, one of our better, more modern managers was Steve McLaren, who's now obviously is he second or third in command now at Man United. So
is he really? He was good for a while, but yeah, he didn't really sustain it, did he?
But funny enough, he left us, and then obviously he got the title as the Wally with a Brolly.
Yeah.
He left. He went to the Netherlands, changed his accent. I don't know what that was about. It was a phase. But the strange thing was when Southgate became England manager, we were 1 point off top of the championship.
Yeah.
When he left for the England job.
Yeah.
So that kind of hurt us a little bit because it was kind of gut wrenching. Like 1 point off top of the table.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I mean, what manager tends to leave at that stage? It was just quite bizarre. And then we got
yeah, there once you get there. So yeah.
Well, actually, after him, then we got Aita Karanka, who was a decent coach, actually, decent manager, and then it just went downhill. Gordon Strachan. I don't know what that was about.
He was a good manager, though. I mean, he done all right elsewhere, didn't he? So I'd always back Strachan to know what he's talking about.
Only thing was, Middlesbrough became like the Scottish national team. Because he was bringing all these Scottish players in. And let's just face it, you can play in the Scottish Premier League, but it's nothing like the English Premier League or the Championship.
Well, I can't say too much because we've signed a fair few players from the Scottish leagues who have actually been pretty decent for us, to be fair. So it's a good mining ground for, again, League One, League Two kind of teams, and Championship to a certain extent.
You know, I mean, it's kind of like expecting a fantastic Spaniard and Slurpy Dave just walking in. No offense, Slurpy.
I tell you what, Luke. What I'm going to do, I think I'm going to have to do. We're fast approaching 2.5 hours, which is the longest live stream we've ever done on Rasco and Disco, because we normally try and keep it to an hour and a half. But this is how it works with P.O.E.T.S Day. You pop into the pub at 4 o'clock on your way home from work, and next thing you know, you're flat on your back at 3 o'clock in the morning outside some nightclub in Slough. Trust me, I've done that. So I think I'm gonna wrap the stream up because I need to do stuff at 6:30. We should probably go and give Mark and Crummy some grief over on their live stream. Although
To me,
Mark's not currently there, to be fair. So I will put that in the thing if anybody wants to wander over there. Although they probably all know it anyway. So if you're all right, I'm going to wrap the stream up there, Luke.
yep,
In
no
terms
problem.
of that, thank you very much for popping in on your birthday to share a pint and raising a cheers to you, sir. Thank you to everybody who's been in the comments, who's popped in for a cheeky Friday slurp, especially to Slurpy Dave for the jokes. And if it goes well, maybe I'll do it next week as well. See who's about. Who knows? Maybe it will be a Friday thing. And if not, well, we'll definitely get back to the Saturdays at some point when Ras goes back. I don't think we're not doing a Rasco and Disco show tomorrow night. I might pop on at 10 o'clock, see who's about. Who knows? See what happens. But yeah, and if you're watching this back after the event, if you're still watching, thank you very much indeed. Click like, subscribe, all that kind of blah, blah, blah. I don't even need to tell you that, but you're meant to, so I do. And we'll see you for the next one at some point.
Yeah. And if you are watching this back and you've got to this point, I really do feel sorry for you. And
unless,
I hope
unless, of
like
course, it's Rasco, in which case, hi, Rasco.
Rasco Senior.
Thanks all. Cheery bye. Pop over and give Mark and Crummy some grief, and we'll see you in the comments there. Thanks very much to everybody. Have a great weekend. Have a great Friday night. Luke, have a great birthday weekend. Whatever you're doing, I know you're working, drinking, blah, blah, blah. So,
Yep.
cheerio.